Hi, wearing my favorite shirt. Carol Baskin, she did it. She fed her husband to the Tigers. I let someone borrow this shirt the other day, and I just got it back. So, video today is on how to program, and its origination is from a conversation that I had with a friend while I was coaching / programming / the owner-player coaching, the affiliate that I was co-owner of. So I broke it down into a way that makes sense in my head, and it's going to look probably similar to a lot of what you've heard in terms of mesocycle, microcycle, cycle, but it is going to have a little different spin on it because it's just straight out of my head and it's in whiteboard speak. So here's the picture, and I have it in kind of umbrellas, and I look at things in terms of umbrellas, and the whole thing is, of course, under one umbrella, which is the exercise program. I like to look at things in terms of movement, in terms of time domain, and in terms of what you have, just your equipment. Breaking down these bit by bit, this is just like for a CrossFit, functional fitness / get as in shape as possible from where you are, from point A to point B type of program. Within each of these, the only way that anything is going to work is if there's somebody at the helm who cares as much as possible overseeing the people who are going to be doing it. So I can give you the best program in the world. It could be this one. It could be Matt Fraser's program. It could be any program. But if the person who's overseeing it can't really keep an eye on you / can't answer your questions / you're just sitting there like, and if there's no direction, which is what I try to do in my program, I try to give direction to the people who are doing my program, and it's a lot more than I see from a lot of other programs which have a lot more, backing, maybe just from their exposure and their following. Maybe they have 10 million followers on Instagram and people just buy it because of that. But then you look at their program and there's absolutely nothing behind the fact of what they're doing Murph for every 3 days. And what is this 30-minute AMRAP for every Wednesday? So without the idea behind what you're doing, it kind of just loses a lot of what it could be. It could be the best program ever. You just don't know. So with this, I like to break it down. So I like to look at movement first. And these are all within a week. So within a week, there are I like to look at things in terms of lower body, upper body, and midline. So when you look at lower body, it's got a couple patterns that you follow. You have a squat pattern, you have a hinge pattern, you have a lunge pattern. Hinge, you can think deadlift, clean, snatch, pulling, where you're bending at the hips. Lunging, you can think step-ups, you think lunges, you think anything where one leg is going out in front of the other, and it's just that split pattern. You've got squat pattern, which of course is just squatting. Duh. You've got the upper body. You've got push, pull in the horizontal plane. You've got push, pull in the vertical plane. And I have little ranges in which I like to hit those things. So I kind of went right by it on the squat. You want to hit the squat pattern 3 to 4 times a week. You want to hit the lunge pattern 2 times a week, or 1 to 4 times a week. And you want to hit the hinge pattern a couple times a week. The upper body, 3 to 4 times total you want to touch upon it. You do it equal parts push, pull. So if I push this many times this way, I pull this many times this way. And if I push this many times this way, I pull this many times this way. And it just becomes a system of levers and pulleys that you want to balance out in the upper body. So if you do this many reps here, you want to do this many reps here so that you're not just sitting here the entire time. Same thing goes with the midline. So I've got 2 to 5. And 2 to 5 means you can do toes to bar, you can do sit-ups, you can do GHD sit-ups. And, of course, you want to counter that with some extension. You can do some deadlifts, some hip extension, some reverse hyper work. But whatever you do, and then, of course, you've got some twisting work you want to hit, which isn't very common in CrossFit, so you've got to get a little bit creative. And that is usually done in the accessory pieces of everything. So branching over, we'll look at the time domains. 0 to 1 minutes, 2 to 8 minutes, 8 to 15 minutes, and 15 minutes plus. You'll see that there are a lot of these. And so how do you do all this in a week? Within a class program, because this is written for the classes, which is also done by the competitive people who ended up being rather elite. So how does this work? And I would always tell people, including the people who just came to do the classes, that it was very important to do the accessory. Because within the accessory, you'll do things like the 0 to 1 minute time domain, wasn't something that was hit super frequently in the class, but it is weightlifting, but it could be assault bike sprints. It could be rowing intervals. It could be go do a 400. But it's just as important to hit that as it is to hit the 15-minute plus window, where it's anywhere from 0 to 15. And if I programmed a 5K row, 10K row, it's not something that would really be done in a class format. I'll talk more about that in the next umbrella. But on this umbrella, it was important that you see that maybe you don't do, within a week, you don't do anything that's over 15 minutes, because it doesn't really make sense in a class format. But it's possible that you did it 2 or 3 times on your own in the accessory work. You do a 20-minute assault bike for calories, or a 30-minute assault bike for calories, or you do an hour assault bike, which I would program in the accessory work and still do. The sweet spot would be, of course, like that 2 to 8 and 8 to 15 window. Do 2 to 3 of each. You see in the bottom, there's a circle. The circle means that there's accessory pieces that usually add on to that. And this is all conditioning related. When you see 0 to 1, that doesn't really include weightlifting unless it's done with barbell cycling, and the idea is for it to be a conditioning piece. So this is all just in terms of glycolytic, aerobic type windows and oxidative windows. Going from time to linear progression with the movements and the equipment. So within every program, you've got to have something that you're building upon. There was always something to be building upon on that Monday with the legs. So it was very clear that it would be like squat, maybe back squat, maybe front squat, and then there'd be lunge, and then it'd be squat, and then it'd be lunge. And on the back end of the week, you would see that there would be some sort of progression on either the deadlift or the bench. And it really ended up making a lot of sense that that's how that worked, where maybe on the month, you would do some bench on one month and some deadlift on the next month. Or maybe you tried to interweave those two things, and you would do some deadlift in the middle of the week while you were benching progression at the end, so that you wouldn't lose your deadlift progression, and then you would flip-flop them, and you do some bench in the middle of the week while working on your deadlift progressions on the end. And then every Monday, you would do some squat work with a Thursday sort of Olympic lifting to hit a little bit of extra squats. Or maybe on the Wednesday, the workout would have a squat emphasis, so it wasn't interfering with the Monday progression. You could see how I just get going and I'm talking about it. And you're like, where the hell are you talking? What is going on here? But the idea is that there has to be a thought and where you're going with the stuff. And it has to be relayed to the people who are doing it. Because if you're just deadlifting on a Friday and you don't know that there are 4 more Fridays to follow, you don't really know what you're supposed to be getting out of this Friday in particular. Where am I supposed to be? How's it supposed to feel? Is it supposed to be fast? Slow? I don't know. If it's slow, is it going to be slow next week too, or slower, or impossible? I don't know. You need to know. That's important. Everyone needs to know what's going on. I have in here that it has to be fun. And you hear that and you're like, oh, it's weird. It's a fitness program. But yeah, if it's not fun, you're not going to do it. Or if it's extremely challenging and over the top and pointless, it also doesn't make sense. Like if you do the same thing week after week after week and it looks the same, it's like it's no longer fun. It's got to be a little bit different, and it's got to coincide with a lot that's going on in the world. So it's the reason I keep a good finger on what's going on at Wadapalooza, and what's going on here, and what's going on there, who's doing this and who's doing that, because when you can almost correlate what's going on here, there, and you're doing it yourself, it's almost as if you're doing it yourself, and it's cool. It's interesting. That's why we do it. That's why we don't go to the Globo gym and just go do bench press every Monday. And you know what? People might just be doing bench press because everyone's doing bench press, and you like to be doing what people are doing. It's fun. So it's about having fun, because if you're having no fun, you're not going to be doing it for a long time. And fitness in general is just about doing it for a long time. My rants. My bad. So yeah, you have to care. I have to care. You have to care. And everyone has to care up and around. And you have to be working towards the common goal of the program, which is to get fitter, which is what I said at the beginning of the video. You want to be fitter. You want to be stronger. You want to be in better cardiorespiratory shape. You want to be able to do things for a long time while not being injured doing those things. And there has to be a lot of thought put into, 1, the program, and 2, the execution of the program. Not just on my front from the programmee, but also on your end from the person who's executing those things. So you can't just do things with no regard for how they should be being done. The more knowledge you